Hey everyone, welcome to Avocado Football. Today we'll be talking about what is the best 11 for the England national team for this upcoming Euros. A lot of questions are being asked about if Gareth Southgate is the right person to lead the English national team to the Euros, and a lot of question is tactics. He's the man who had led England in the last World Cup to a somewhat belief that they can win silverware. But the England national team cannot afford another generation of influx of talent where they are played in a bad system or a formation that forces players to play in positions that they're not comfortable with. We will quickly go over England's current tactics and different ways they can line up for the Euros with the talent they have. We'll go over the top Premier League teams' formations and tactics that are deployed and how that can benefit the national team greatly, as it has for previous World Cup winners. We're familiar now with Gareth Southgate's beloved 3-5-2 formation that seems like it won't be going away soon. And although England reached the semi-finals of the 2018 World Cup, they were never considered underdogs in comparison to the teams that they faced in that tournament. In the knockouts, they faced Colombia, where they merely got through on penalties, then Sweden, and followed by the loss to Croatia in the semi-finals. England have such a talented generation, and it should be expected of them to achieve big things at the Euros. Recently, English clubs have been dominating in Europe, with Tottenham and Liverpool recently facing the Champions League final, with Liverpool going back-to-back appearances there, with Chelsea and Arsenal facing in the Europa League final in 2018-19. It appears to be a power shift in the balance, and this is natural for generations in football, where we've seen Italy dominate, then Spain, then Germany, France. Can England be the next generation to dominate? England has had a golden generation where it could field the likes of Lampard, Gerrard, Scholes, Beckham, but they failed miserably together due to mismanagement and not being able to drop one of these players. Then forcing a player like Scholes to play left mid is just a disaster. We see with Gareth Southgate what he does have a system, and for that system, he has employed the right players. However, is the 3-5-2 the right system for England? Let's quickly take a look at the past champions of the World Cup's tactics of familiarity, and let's compare them. In 2018, France fielded mainly the same 4-2-3-1 throughout the tournament, where it had two midfield stars in Kante and Pogba, with a workhorse of a player like Matuidi, who often operated on the left midfield. And with hold-up play from Giroud, it gave a lot of freedom to Mbappe and Griezmann, and that freedom is important. Their defense, it was a four-man defense, where all four defenders played with four-man defense in their clubs. Another World Cup winning team in 2014 was Germany. They played with four at the back as well, in a 4-2-3-1, where they fielded players familiar and played the same system with their respective clubs. We can go back even further and assess Spain's World Cup winning team. Even most are familiar with, they deployed a system and a formation that mostly Barcelona players and players that fit the tiki-taka system have excelled in. My point is, running a winning national team is different than clubs, and it is why many managers are more suited to coach a national team rather than a club and otherwise. If England want to win silverware, they should strongly consider changing the formation to the needs and familiarity of their star players. Sure, these players can play multiple formations, but to have them at their best, you cannot have a lot of players have one role for their club and another role for their national team. We take a look at the teams, the top teams that have the most starting English players in the Premier League: Liverpool, Manchester City, Tottenham, and Manchester United. They all play a 4-2-3-1 or a fluid 4-3-3. It is in the national team's best interest to play with either a 4-2-3-1 or a fluid 4-3-3, and it is more in the defense aspect of things, as the defensive structure of the team completely changes when you have defenders in a five-man defense, especially that you're sacrificing another position in midfield or attack, where England really has world-class talent. Assuming everyone is fit and based on this form and these players' proven quality, there are some players that are truly untouchable players, like Harry Kane, Trent Alexander-Arnold. These two are the players where they really are above everyone else in their position greatly, and you would never expect them to be subbed out in the tournament. We have Jordan Henderson, who is a proven leader and has really taken his game to another level with Liverpool in recent years, and has solidified his place in the team. England has a great pool of wingers who can be starters in any of the best teams in the world. However, the two that should start for England are Sterling and Jadon Sancho. There are other midfielders we'll take a look at, like Rashford, Grealish, Foden, Maddison, and Mason Mount. We can maybe even consider Dele Alli if he turns his form around this season. But what is important is England to field its best players and look at the holes of potential errors and fill it with the right player who will benefit the team more. In left back, England have Ben Chilwell, who has been great for Chelsea this season and is less error prone than Luke Shaw. In the centre back area is where it gets a bit tricky, along with the goalkeepers. In goal, it's a toss-up, and Southgate has preferred his Jordan Pickford, but we have seen how well Dean Henderson played last year and the good performances from Nick Pope. Perhaps if we see Henderson get loaned out to a club in January as his fight for De Gea's spot seemed slim, he should be looking for a move in January, and if he shows he can play like he had with Sheffield, he should definitely be the starter for England. Nick Pope is another great goalkeeper, which I believe he's overshadowed due to Burnley's defensive approach, but he has been extraordinary and can also be a starter. Both options are better than Pickford, to be honest. They are more consistent and less likely to make mistakes. In centre back, even though this is the position England fans are less likely to cheer about, the two centre backs who can play together in a four-man defense are Joe Gomez and Harry Maguire. John Stones has not been getting playtime, and him partnering with Maguire would be a bad pair. Another honourable mention would be Tarkowski or Connor Cody, who have been challenging for the spot. Now, for the remaining two positions, I believe they are the most critical, as who will help create goals for the world-class players of Kane, Sterling, and Sancho, and who can be a good anchor with Jordan Henderson, who can give them the freedom to attack. Because that's what's important, the freedom to attack with a good defensive structure in a tournament that will lead England to a championship. The player who can join these top three players needs to be a player with creativity and that can make the England national team play attacking, fluid football as they are doing in their clubs. The wild card that has been overachieving and playing beautiful football is Jack Grealish, and he can be a key to unlocking a lot of European defenses in the tournament. The other two who should be in contention is Phil Foden and James Maddison. Their playstyles fit so well in a system that gives them freedom, and with a defensive midfielder like Declan Rice partnering Henderson in midfield, they can be given that freedom to attack without sacrificing structurally in a 3-5-2. Gareth Southgate's stubbornness may cost England a chance at silverware, and I would love to get your guys' opinion on this. Comment, what do you think is the best 11 for the Euros? I'll see you in the next video. Take care now.